Hello bookish friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and today we are going to be talking about some winter book recommendations. It is the beginning of November when I'm filming this, but when you're watching this, Chris and I will be in Hawaii on our honeymoon, so I'm pre-filming a ton. As you probably already know, I live in upstate New York where the winters are brutal and they're freaking cold. And it is November, 3rd when I'm filming this, and it is freezing outside. And it's only gonna get worse. It's really not that cold. It gets a lot colder than it is right now, but I'm already over it. I am already over this freaking weather. But let's talk about some book recommendations I have for the winter season. Some of these are just like set in the winter time and have very like wintry vibes. Others are straight up Christmas reads. So let's just dive right in. The first book I have, and I don't know why I really like associate this book with winter. It could be the cover, and it could be the fact that this book is set in Manhattan, but that book is In 5 Years by Rebecca Surley. I read this book years ago, probably 2 years ago at this point. And I still think about this book all the time. Like, this book is so good, so interesting, and such a different kind of plot than I'm used to. It follows Danny, who lives her life out by numbers. She's very calculated. She has a great job, great husband. Actually, I don't think they're married. Oh no, they're not married. He proposed to her and she was like kind of unsure if she was going to accept it or not, but then she ended up doing that. Goes to sleep one night thinking her life is on track. Then when she wakes up the next morning, she realizes everything is different. She lives in a different apartment, has a different ring on her finger, has a different man next to her. He spends 1 hour exactly 5 years in the future before she wakes up again in her own home on the brink of midnight. This is crazy. It's so cool. There's like a touch of magic in this and like a magical element with like the fact that she jumped forward 5 years in her life, lived there for 1 hour, and then came back to her regular life. Why I associate this with a winter read, but I do, so just trust me on that. Next, I have Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. Sorry, I don't like the reflection on this. It's crazy. This is a low-stakes, cozy fantasy series where it talks a lot about coffee, this cozy cafe, biscuits, and delicious treats. Viv, our main character, used to be like a warrior. She wants out of that life, and she goes to this small little town and opens her own coffee shop and introduces the entire town to coffee. She meets a lot of fun little creatures along the way, and it's just a good time. This is just, if you want a warm hug in a book, this is it. And the prequel to this book is actually coming out November 7th. By the time you're watching this, the prequel to this book is already out. And I'm so sad that my pre-order is going to come when we're in Hawaii. Like, I pre-ordered this months ago, and it's going to be delivered to my house on November 7th or 8th. And of course, I'm going to be in Hawaii, so I have to wait to read the prequel until I come back. But this book is such a joy. Like, when I was reading this, I was like, oh my God, I love this. And then I actually read it again, but listened to the audiobook. And Travis Baldree actually narrates the audiobook himself, so it was just a great time the second time around too. But very cute, very cozy. Highly recommend reading this in the winter time. The next two books are part of a series, and you've probably heard me talk about the first book a million freaking times because I always rave about it and talk about how it's like my favorite book to ever exist, and it still is. That still rings true. And that book is The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce, and the second book is The Retreat. So The Sanatorium takes place during winter time. It used to be a sanatorium, obviously, for people who had like mental issues. Like, not just like, crazy. It was recently renovated into a 5-star hotel. Ellen and her fiance go and stay there with Ellen's brother and his fiance. And once they get there, like, the building is just spooky. It obviously has a really traumatizing past, this building. And it's just crazy. Like, the cover, like, it's in the middle of the mountains. It's winter when they're there. So, like, it's just creepy. I want to go to this hotel and stay there overnight. Forgot to mention, but this is a mystery thriller. And this book, when I tell you, I never guessed the plot twist. I never got it right. I tried so many times to figure out what the hell was going to happen in this book. And every time I thought I had it figured out, Pierce was like, nope, you aren't even close. And the ending of this was just phenomenal. I still think about this book all the time. And this is definitely in my top 5 books of all time. Second book follows Ellen again. This one doesn't necessarily take place in the winter. Idyllic wellness retreat has opened on an island off the English coast. Island is known as the Reaper's Rock. It has a troubled past, a dark past. Somebody is found dead. And then Ellen Warner, our main character in both books, which I forgot to mention, she's a detective, goes and tries to figure out what the hell happened on this retreat. One thing about both of these books is In the first book, you're introduced to Ellen, and she's like traumatized from a past case she worked on, but you never figure out what that case was. And this ends on such a cliffhanger that when I got this one, I was like, okay, they're going to answer the question I have about how the first one ended, and it didn't answer it in this, which I was kind of upset about. But Sarah Pierce just also announced that she's coming out with the third book to this, so I'm hoping in that book we find out why Ellen was so like traumatized by this case she had. So absolutely love these books. Highly recommend reading in the winter, obviously because this one takes place in winter. And if you're snowed into your house while you're reading this, you're probably going to be really spooked and think that somebody's behind you at all times. Just saying. The next book I don't have an actual copy of it. I have no clue where it went. It's No Exit by Taylor Adams. This book is so thrilling. The entire time I was like, holy shit, I need to finish this so I can figure out how this ends. This is a mystery thriller about 4 strangers who are snowed into a highway rest stop, and there's 4 different people with 4 different stories. The main character that you're following in this realizes that somebody in this rest stop that she's like snowed in with has a kidnapped child in their van out in the parking lot, and she tries to solve what happened, and it is just wild. The book obviously takes place with snow, so hence the winter book wreck. This book was non-stop chaos, and I loved every single second of it. Like, this book was so freaking good. This book was just so fantastic, and I cannot wait to read more from this author. This author's writing style is just so like gripping. Highly recommend that one. The next book I have to recommend in the winter months is A Quiet Life by Ethan Joella. This book will rip your heart out, but also like put it right back together at the end. This is a contemporary fiction, so it's not like a thriller or anything. Nothing kind of crazy happens. It follows our main character, Chuck, who just recently lost his wife, and every winter they do like a road trip to one of the Carolinas, I think it is. How he's dealing with like the grief and being alone and trying to figure out how to live his day-to-day life without her. Really sad, like watching this old man go through all of these feelings and emotions. Like, I literally like cried during this book. Like, I was like, holy shit, this is so sad. Everybody else that's kind of in his life is telling him to keep the trip going, keep the tradition going. His wife would want that, and to not spend the winter in their hometown and to just go on the trip without her and make the best of it. He becomes really close with the person that delivers his newspaper. They kind of form a bond. Not like a creepy bond, like they're both going through similar situations, so they kind of like connect, and they're like, okay, you're exactly the person I need in my life to help me get through this point. That's really cute in that book. And then the ending is just so cute. It's so cute. Oh my god. It makes me like emotional just thinking about it. The ending is just a happy ending. You're pretty sad the entire time, and then the way it ends, you're like, holy shit, like that came full circle. Like, you're so happy for this man. You're so happy for the girl that delivers his newspaper. Like, it's just, oh, it's a beautiful book. Ethan Joella just has a way with words where he doesn't overcomplicate things, and he gives you like a straightforward story, but also makes you feel all the emotions while you're reading. So highly recommend that one too. Let's talk Christmassy books. The first book I have here is The Santa Soup by Mary Kay Andrews. This is a really tiny book. I absolutely loved this last year. I listened to the audiobook, and I wasn't expecting to like absolutely adore this book, but I did. It's about Ivy Perkins, who buys a old farmhouse sight unseen. So she goes there, she's trying to renovate it. She's looking for a change in her life. Little farmhouse that she bought is like an heirloom to this one family that lived in this small little town. It's called the Four Roses, and the family that she bought the house from left all their furniture there. I'm pretty sure the parents like died, and then they are trying to sell the house, so everything is left there. It's a lot of work that she has to do, but she's willing to do it, like really defeated about it. And then when she's going through this house, she finds a Santa suit in one of the closets, and she finds a note that's written in childish handwriting, and it says it's from a little girl who has one Christmas wish, and that is for her father to return home from the war. This discovery sets Ivy off on a mission. Who wrote the note? Did the man ever come home? And what mysteries did the Rose family hold? Ivy's quest brings her into the community at a time when all she wanted to do was be left alone and nurse her wounds. But the magic of Christmas makes miracles happen, and Ivy just might find more than she ever thought possible. A welcoming town, a family reunited, a mystery solved, and a second chance at love. Oh, the reason why she moves into this old farmhouse is because she got divorced and wanted a fresh start. But this was adorable. Also, can we talk about this cover? So cute. This was adorable. Like, I absolutely love this, and this will give you all the, like, Hallmark Christmas movie vibes. So if you love Hallmark Christmas movies where everybody always gets their happy ending, this is the one for you. So cute and so quick to read. Non-cute Christmas books, but spicy Christmas books. I have A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simeone. I don't think I knew what I was getting myself into when I started reading this book. I thought it was just going to be like a rom-com. No, this is spicy. I mean, anything with Sierra Simeone's name on it is going to be spicy. This was the first time I've ever read anything from her, so I was like, oh, like, how spicy can it be? And it's raunchy. So this follows Bea Hobbs, who has a successful career as a plus-size adult film star. With a huge following and 2 supportive moms, she couldn't ask for more. But when her favorite producer casts her to star in a Christmas movie he's making for the squeaky clean Hope Channel, Bea's career is about to take a more family-friendly direction. Forced to keep her work as Bianca under wraps, Bea quickly learns this is a task a lot easier said than done. Though it all becomes worthwhile when she discovers her co-star is none other than the childhood crush Nolan Shaw, an ex-boy band member in desperate need of career rehab. Nolan's promised his bulldog manager to keep it zipped up on set, and he will if it means he'll be able to provide a more stable living situation for his sister and his mom. But things heat up quickly in Christmas Notch, Vermont, when Nolan recognizes his co-star from her closed doors account. Now Bea and Nolan are sneaking off for quickies on set and keeping their new relationship a secret from the Hope Channel's execs. It's a good one. It's like a thicker book, but the font's pretty big. And once you start reading this, you get so engulfed in these two's relationship and like their personal lives. It follows Nolan and Bea's perspective, so once you start reading this, you just want to finish it. The spice in here is so good. And they actually just came out with their second Christmas book, which I need to get and I need to read because I loved this one so much. All right, I think that's all I got for you for this winter book rec video. These are my winter book recs. A lot of good ones in here. I read all of these within the last couple years, and they are just books that have stuck with me since. And they definitely give off all the vibes of winter and Christmas. So if you are interested in checking any of these out, you should definitely do so. I don't recommend books that I don't absolutely love. If I give a book a 3-star and below, I'd never recommend it because I don't like wasting my time with books that are just like meh. So all of these books I can vouch for that you will absolutely love. If you read any, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.